Hi, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Professionals in the Workforce series. Today, we have the honor of hosting Steve Mandell, a serial entrepreneur renowned for founding Party City and starting numerous businesses across various industries. He has an incredible story with invaluable lessons to share with us. Let's get started right after the trailer. Hi, everyone. We're now with Steve Mandell. Thank you so much for coming on this frigid day. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Steve, everyone knows you as the founder of Party City. Could you walk us through your career before Party City and what inspired you to start it?
Sure. So I basically started at 10 years old selling candy on the streets of Brooklyn. And so as people left their Hebrew school, they passed by my little stand I had, and that's where I had my start. Anyhow, grew up in the retail business. My dad was an executive for a local New York drug chain. Mm-hmm. So I've worked all my life, and started at 10, and it was one thing after the next. When I went to college, I really spent my time trying to build different things. I got involved with a fraternity that I just started. God knows why I even joined it, but I built it from 18 people to 100 and some odd people. I ran the commissary and started that, and so I've always done different things. I guess my first real career was I had worked for a drug chain as a buyer.
Drug chain.
Following by that, I decided that I was going to become an independent sales rep. I started my own sales rep company, mm-hmm. and I did that for about 13 years. And I really recognized that there was a opportunity in the party goods business. Mm-hmm. And because one of the lines I represented was a party goods line, I did not represent them for the party goods industry, but I represented them to the mass merchandise world, supermarket chains, 5 and 10s, whatever. And I said, this is not a chain concept. This is an independent concept. There were 2 independents that most people know. One was called Party Box, which is, I'm sure you must have passed it at one another, around 80 in Hackensack area. Real big warehouse store. And there was another one that was not that far away, which nobody knew about. But anyhow, they're both doing a lot of business, and I recognized that maybe there's an opportunity here, and I knew a little bit about the party goods business because I was representing them, and I said, I'm going to open up a party goods store. I want to be more in control of my life. Being an independent rep, you represent many different companies, and if you're terminated for whatever the reason may be, which includes the company going out of business on you, it's hard to replace. So I wanted to be more in control of my life, and that's how I ultimately decided to start Party City.
So over time, it became very big. Was the original plan just to slowly grow it, franchise it, sell it? Like, what was the original plan and vision, and at what point did...
Sure. Well, I wish I could say I was that smart, but I wasn't that smart, because my dream was to have one store. That was my dream. And what really happened is we were in this one store in East Hanover, New Jersey, mm-hmm. and I see a guy around lunchtime walking in the store, and he's kind of casing the place out and looking around. Not a product, but he's not a customer. And to make a long story short, I went up to him. He was actually looking at a franchise in the party goods business. He was very much impressed with what we had, and asked me if I consider franchising. I said, why not? I didn't know what I even had, right? And so I franchised by mistake.
By mistake.
So it was one store, and we opened up the store that day. Did triple the volume that I expected it to do. And before I knew it, I was getting phone calls from different people asking me if I'd franchise. So I did get into franchising by mistake.
So What did that guy say that was different about Party City that he liked better than Party Box?
Well, it wasn't. It happened to be a small local franchise chain, but the reality was is that we looked pretty good. It was a wow type of a store. It was a wow in many respects. Selection, the way merchandise was being presented, the advertising, everything that we were doing, and that's really what I think he gravitated towards us.
So over the past 20 years, Party City has undergone several buyouts and restructurings. Could you shed some light on those changes and what they did to the company?
Well, I think the first thing that they did is they put money into the company. They proceeded to put the company into debt to pull out some dollars themselves. And Party City has had a long struggle based upon the amount of debt that they had. The other thing is, as in a period of 25 years, that I don't know if it was 5 or 6 CEOs that were in the company, and and many times founders are who they are because they understood or they did what they needed to do to understand the business, to grow the model. But these were people that they brought in, and they're smart people. Don't get me wrong, it's really smart people, but they just didn't understand the party business. And if I was them, I would have sure sat down with people like myself to try to get some intelligence, as to what. Not because everything we did was right, and you can't change things, but you should have a background of what's right and what's wrong.
So we have some footage of the East Hanover location, which is pretty close by to your original one in East Hanover. I'm hoping to get your reactions as you're watching it, so Sam, please play it. So what's your reaction to everything you saw?
Yeah, it's sad. It's tragic. As one of the things that I thought our stores always had a wow look, and a wow look very much in stock. If I would walk a store with a manager and I saw an item that was out of stock, I want to know why that out of 15,000 items, I want to know why that one item was out of stock. So seeing something like this, it's very sad. Seeing the presentation, there was a clip that showed Halloween costumes. I think one of the best things that we ever did at Party City that really helped make the company is we developed something that was called a picture wall, and it was like 50 running feet of pictures.
I remember when I was little, I'd see all the pictures and I'd pick out my costume just from
it would
that.
make it so easy to shop. Well, the last CEO decided that there was no reason to have that, and it was tragic taking that down because that's what the customer wanted. That's what made shopping so easy. And even to this day, I happen to walk into a Party City store, which I frequently don't go into. Maybe about a month ago, I'm talking about the picture wall. That's no longer. And she's telling me about the customer that really misses it, right? And I think that's one of Party City's downfalls.
Yeah.
It's all about the customer.
I was also shocked. Besides that being a fond memory, another fond memory was always seeing the balloon wall by the cash registers. When we went in, there were no balloons.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not sure. They did a real good job. And they had a great, today, they had a great presentation on balloons. But balloons is a different animal than everything else, but they really did a good job with balloons.
Yeah.
If they did as good a job with party supplies as they did with balloons, maybe they'd still be around.
Yeah. So on another note, a few years after leaving Party City, you founded Costume Warehouse.
Costume Supercenter.
Sorry, Costume Supercenter. What inspired you to try a similar concept, and what did you approach differently this time around?
Sure. Well, I never knew from the internet. It was never my thing. I had been approached many years ago when I was at Party City about selling party supplies online. I said, "What are you crazy? Who would buy party supplies online?" But I found out people buy party supplies online, and so I thought there was an opportunity in the costume business. It was an easy way to present product, and I went for it. And it was a great, I think it was about 6 years that we grew a company from $0 to, I think it was over 40 million anyhow. And it really worked out incredibly well. Yeah, big business.
So, you've started and been involved with many different businesses, starting a new one every couple of years. Could you walk us through the process of getting an idea, getting investors, and implementing it?
Well, the reality is, as it relates to investors, it was all done internally.
Internally, wow.
I did not have any investors. My present business, I have had a couple partners, but it wasn't that I needed to raise money out there. It was just recognizing a void in the marketplace, and when there's a void, sometimes there's a void for good reason because there is no market. Yeah. But I did not feel. I think the first business I wound up going to was the personalized candy business.
Personalized candy, just like when you were 10 years old and selling candy.
Something like that, exactly. And it was having custom labels on candy bars, and there was nobody around. Although I did buy a company that had been in business for 20 years, doing very, very little business, and people are complacent and they're not growing a business. So I took the business and grew it fivefold in a few years' time, but just being more aggressive, more sophisticated. Not that I consider myself sophisticated, but just doing some things you need to do in the business world.
Makes sense that it would be something that people wanted because, if you go to like a tourist store, you'll see like the things with everybody's names and you'll try to find your name. So why not do it with chocolate bars or something like that, or candy? It would be something people want. And, speaking on personalized, your latest venture, Incredible Cookies, prints any image you want on a cookie. Could you explain the technology of how you get frosting to do an entire image?
Sure. Well, the technology is basically edible ink printers that do all the printing. You can't print directly onto the cookie unless you ice it first, and that's typically done by hand. Mm-hmm. And then we print with edible ink machines. And lots of issues, lots of problems. You could have fading, have all types of issues caused by weather. The cookie is too moist. It impacts it in shipping, impacts breakage. So it's not like printing a piece of paper on a Xerox machine, which you press the button, it goes. There's a lot of work involved in trying to get the right color and not have a bunch of problems.
Is there something that could be done to fix this?
Oh, well, we've done it. We work real hard at it. Doesn't mean to say that we have some things ahead of us to even make it better, but I think we do a really, really good job. It's not that I think so. In the last year, we have 700 reviews from our customers, and it's over 90%, 4 and 5 star ratings, which is
awesome.
Unheard of in our industry, and that's because we work really hard at pleasing the customer.
It's amazing, and it's incrediblecookies.com. Will it always remain an online business, or do you ever plan for any stores?
Well, we're going to do a retail store at our commissary location in Wlezien, New Jersey, which we're going to open in the next month. But the reality is that it's not in our forecast moving forward. It's not a business I want to start over being in the retail business.
He's online. Everything's gone online over the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Sure.
So for someone trying to order a cookie, what's the turnarounds look like?
They order it today. It can ship tomorrow.
Could ship tomorrow. And could you get it anywhere in the world, or is it just limited to the U.S.?
We're strictly U.S., so we'll start shipping Canada in about a month from now.
As well. So I noticed on your website you guys have options for sugar, or chocolate chip. Do you ever plan to have any more flavors?
So we actually have about 6 other flavors there today, including gluten-free option and a vegan option, and so we do have different flavors.
That's awesome. To wrap things up, what's one piece of advice that you'd love to give to a young entrepreneur looking to disrupt an industry?
To disrupt an industry, well, I don't think. First things, I don't think we disrupted an industry. I think we made industries, and obviously a big difference. And so it's finding a need. Okay, it's you know, somebody once told me many years ago that if I walked down Madison Avenue in New York City, by the time I went from one end to the next end, I'd come up with a couple of ideas of businesses to get into. And I told that person, I said, you know what? I don't think so. I don't think it's Madison Avenue because that's not my space. I think it's more like Broadway. Madison's a little too classy for me and the ideas I come up with. But in all honesty, I think that the more you're out there, the more you look at and see different things. You know, I just went to a trade show. I just came back yesterday. Why did I go there? To look for opportunities, to look for things that I think that there's a void in the marketplace, and that's what I've basically always have looked for.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you, and hopefully our audience was really inspired.
Super. Thanks so much.
Thank you.